Hello, you're watching Got Questions, and we wanted to create a space to discuss the questions that Gen Z are actually asking. The aim of this show is not to have all the answers, but to hopefully journey together in discovery.
This content has been created by Alpha Youth. Alpha, also known as the Alpha Course, is an opportunity to explore the meaning of life, faith, and purpose in a safe space where no question is off the table.
That's right, so today we're talking all about social media, arguably the most focused platform with the power to be the most all-inclusive experience. Will this digital age be the biggest distraction or the biggest springboard for Gen Z?
Let's find out.
Waterloo and City Line.
Guys, before we kick in today's conversation on social media, we have to do it one last time, guys. Key cultures.
Love
Who's
the
going to
key
go for it?
cultures.
Who remembers them? Guys. Emily, you've got to go. Let's see if you get all three of them.
Love listens, if you don't agree, be respectful, and then I literally can't remember the last one.
I actually don't know any of them.
Guys, 10 episodes. 10 episodes. What did you your thoughts are always valued.
Yeah,
your opinion's
That's what I was
valued.
going to say, but I was going to say it in a different way.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
I know you guys know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We couldn't remember them in the
They're
moment.
just in the vibe now.
exactly.
They hear.
All right, so this episode is all about social media, so get your phones out. And what I want you to do is not go onto any social media app, but go onto your screen time. There in your screen time, select activity, week, and then tell me how many hours you have been on either Instagram or TikTok, whichever one's at the top. I will lead the way. My one is saying that Instagram, over the whole week, I spent 3 hours, 47 minutes.
Okay.
Who's got more than 3 hours, 47
I've
minutes?
got
I
8
do.
hours, 34 minutes.
Okay. I was wrong. I thought it was 11. It's 8 hours,
8
22
hours.
minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
Still,
Are we just
high.
talking about Instagram?
It's Instagram.
Well, Instagram or TikTok, whichever one is top for you.
TikTok is 7 hours, 5 minutes, and then Instagram is 4 hours.
My Instagram is 7 hours and 51 minutes.
Emily?
Oh, she doesn't.
Mine's an hour.
An hour. Wow, okay, so Emily's got the least amount of social media interaction, and the winner with the most, who's given a whole day of their week with 8 hours, is that yours?
Yeah, 8 hours and 43 minutes.
8 hours and 43 minutes. Social media award goes to you right there.
An award? Like,
No,
it's
I
not
mean,
a win.
obviously, we're just having a little bit of jokes, but Emily, why don't you tell us, how have you only spent an hour? Why is that?
Well, firstly, I was like away a lot, so I guess that kind of plays into it. But I normally just go on social media, post my own stuff and leave. Like, I don't really, because when I started out like on Instagram, it was always like looking at other people and comparing myself and thinking like, well, like, I want to be them. But then I find myself just being like, if I don't look at other people's, I'm fine and I can still carry on being myself.
Any other thoughts? Like, what are the positives and negatives of social media?
I mean, I think it's, again, my time was so much, but it's like my job. So I feel like I'm constantly on it to get inspiration. I think that's why it's a good thing, because you can easily get motivated and see how other people are doing in terms of like fitness or like outfits and stuff like that. So very good place to get inspiration. But like Emily said, it's very easy to get sort of like, you know, also start comparing yourself. And I think that's when it gets very, very dangerous. But yeah, for inspiration for me, it's great.
Yeah, I love what you said. So apps like TikTok is something that I think people can get lost in and get toxic as well. And I think even with Snapchat now, they have the new scroll system. And Instagram Reels was like, obviously started on TikTok, then moved to Instagram, now Snapchat. And I think, I don't know if Twitter is going to jump on that wave as well. I know Facebook now, they now have the new story section, but I basically think having these things with our phones and scrolling, you can get lost in that. And it's very unhealthy, because I've even seen myself when, just for an example, when I'm so bad to say, in my household, when I'm saying, Dad, I'm going to have a shower in like 5 minutes, I'll go back into my bedroom, scroll on TikTok, and hours gone by, my dad shouting at me, Kane, you said you was going to have a shower, 10 minutes ago, and that's been a whole hour. Then like, social media can become very toxic and you get lost in it. As well, have you been, I know you guys do fashion, so have you guys ever felt lost in what you're doing?
I think it's more of like when you post, I think it's like a video, if you take a lot of time into like making it, obviously you want it to blow up and do good. Yeah. So like once you post it, it's either you like let just like put it down and just wait to see if it blows up, or you're just always on it to see if it's doing good. Most of the time it's like you're on it to see if it's good, because it's just like you want it to do good. You spent your time hard working, editing it, filming it, getting the angles. So it could be like quite frustrating and stressing, but yeah, I think so.
What about like going viral here? Because here I got a definition, right? So a video that's had over 1 million views was considered viral. Anyone had any over 1 million views? Yeah?
Not yet.
Yeah? All right.
Old
So
news.
that's just normal, right? But these days, it's only considered viral if it gets more than 5 million views between 3 to 7 days. Viral?
Nope.
No. No. But why is there this kind of like need or want to kind of go viral and have this overnight success?
I think it's just adding on to what I said with like, if you spend a lot of time and just like, you know what I mean? It's just like you want it to do good because you spent a lot of time of your day. And I think it's because it's become more normal to like have people blow up overnight. So it's just like, if someone from my school can do it, then I can do it. So then you just continue doing it. And sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I think as well, it's like this glorification of like fame,
Yeah.
and like online fame, because it's like when a lot of people know you on social media, they like, it really does help in terms of like getting more jobs or
Yeah.
just like, it's basically like fame. And I feel like having people like Kim Kardashian or like Kylie Jenner that have really built up this like huge thing that comes with like being famous. I think a lot of people look at that, especially like young kids now.
Yeah.
They would look at it and they're like, yeah, I really want that. So I
Yeah.
think it's just this constant like rat chase, I like to call it, because it's like you're constantly after it constantly. And when you actually do attain it, the sort of high you get from it, it's very, very minimal.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, because ultimately it's also, you could say, people are making a lot of money from this. Like it can be a job, it can be a career. Like you could be a doctor earning a lot of money, but then you could be an influencer earning a lot more money if you wanted to, or if you made it viral. Like I think it's really dangerous, because then where do we draw the line in terms of like age and like who can basically start an Instagram page and go viral? At what age do you think basically should this be like available to young people? Because are you going to just grow up as like a digital native thinking this is the aspiration, which is fine, but I'm just saying, do you feel as if there's a real danger in that in terms of how early we're actually exposing young people to like social media and the idea of being an influencer?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having a phone from a young age is very difficult, because the second you get it, you're like on YouTube or like on TikTok, and it's like straight away you're constantly comparing yourself. And I think when you do that, you sort of get exposed to stuff that you're not meant to. Because at a young age, I mean, I was playing with toys. Like, to be fair, I was playing with toys until I was like 17. So I didn't have like a phone for that long. So I feel like, and if you compare it with like my brother Matthew here, he's 14 and he's like, wow, what the hell happened there? Like, where was the whole growing up process? Yeah. But I do think it's like, it's a good thing to have like social, because you're aware of stuff a lot more, and it's like there's so much things that you're more aware of. But then there's also a thing where it's like, oh, maybe it's still good to be a kid. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's different for everyone, but.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add on to that quick, sorry. I would say like, because I'm young and you're basically talking to me.
I'm young as well.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, as in, I'm 14. So I think social media can be good, but like in some people's hands, they can be like, they can get lost in it. And like, if they get a bit of fame, they just like all of a sudden become like some next person. Yeah. And I think you just have to be careful, and you just have to humble yourself a lot. Wow. And yeah, because it could become like people at school will come up to me like, oh my God, like you're famous. And I'll just be like, no, like I'm the same guy that goes to your school. Like I'm just, it's fine. So yeah, it's just weird, because like young people can get like really like vain and like
an ego trip.
An ego trip, because people come up to you that you never knew from school and saying like, yo, like you do this, you do this. And it's just, the main thing is I just stay humble and like, I guess, just don't let it get to you like that.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Let me throw a question out for everyone, but I'd love you to answer first, Emily, that's all right.
Yeah.
Because we were chatting about this the other day. I mean, we started off talking about like how would Jesus use social media? Then Emily was like, well, he's perfect, so he would have just done the right thing. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So Emily said, well, how would the disciples, who weren't perfect, who still loved Jesus, how would they have used social media?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I forgot we said that. I don't know, I think different disciples would have done different things. Like, I feel like, obviously, we saw Peter, he, like, slips up in the Bible, and that's noted. And I think that's really important for us to know that, yeah, he slipped up then, and that back then it was, like, face-to-face conversations was basically, like, our social media, like. And so it's okay if we do slip up and we do things that are wrong on social media, because the disciples probably would have done the same thing. But they also were so faithful. Like, you know, the fact that they all most of them died for Jesus. And so just using our platforms in a way that glorifies him, because that's what they would have done. I mean, I feel like they would have had, you know, just a lot about Jesus on them page, and like showing Jesus more than themselves, maybe.
And I think also they would have done like what they're good at. Because I feel like being a Christian, there's a massive misconception where if you're a Christian and you're on social media that you have to preach, that you have to be preaching the Bible 24/7. And I think some creatives and influencers that I love watching is people that don't preach, they're Christians, but they're sharing their faith doing comedy. They're sharing their faith. Like, I watch cookers and they're Christians. And so you don't have to like be preachers. And I think, yeah, what you guys are saying, literally the disciples would have done what they're good at, honestly, yeah. And that's something that, yeah.
Emily, you used to have a baking one. Remember, you used to do some baking videos. I absolutely...
church, not for
Listen,
me.
I loved watching that. It's very good. Great content.
We need to continue with this conversation. I think we need to get in a couple of people who might bring us some more sound advice. But to be fair, I think a lot of what you guys are saying is making a lot of sense. But before we do that, why don't you just enjoy this Zoom chat where we hear from different young people around the globe about what they think about social media.
We have things that could be, as if used as intended, can be incredibly powerful, incredibly helpful for advancing God's kingdom. But the problem with creating power in anything is power is corruptible, right? And so that's the world we live in.
I also think it's important to note that social media was designed to be addictive. That's something that we can't ignore. Like, studies show that our brain releases dopamine, so we feel super happy when we receive positive social feedback. So it could be like a really quick text message back, or it could be someone liking your Instagram photo. And I think that definitely worries me, because we've kind of developed this unconscious reliance on social media and a really, really short attention span. And it's just embedded as a social norm now.
Social media has created a whole nother platform for arguing and division. I think social media is a huge reason that our country is so divided today, is because someone can post something and then hundreds of thousands of comments of hundreds of thousands of different people all believe something different, and none of which are willing to listen to another side.
That's what I find hard about Christian influences. Sometimes I feel like it's very difficult because it portrays, not all of them at all. Quite often I find that Christian influencers would create this lifestyle that it's always easy. And having said that, on the contrary, there is people that I follow that aren't at all like that are influencers. But sometimes I find that it's been quite difficult as a young Christian person growing up, seeing that their life is all fine and they've got a wife and 3 kids and they're all like so cute.
I think social media has given us the capability to become better connected and better ingrained in the whole world. We are receiving and processing and letting out information at an alarming rates higher than in decades prior. Friends can be made online. Events can be hosted online. Weddings nowadays are even hosted online. Gen Z joke that we like to live on social media, but to a certain extent, this is our reality. This is where we can create our own lives and tailor it according to how we want to live. It's like an RPG. It's a magical experience.
I love just hearing from young people across the globe about that subject. But we're going to continue chatting about it right here. And we've got 2 incredible people with us today. Can you put your hands together? We've got Phil and Jade.
Jade.
Let me just read out your bios. Because, yes, we did a little bit of stalking. So, Phil, you are from Ireland. Brilliant, yes. You are the Alpha Youth Director of Northern Ireland, and you have a natural flair in using social media as a platform to share your faith. Amazing.
Nice.
Best thing about Ireland?
The food. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Jade, by day, you train to be a lawyer, and somehow within the same day, you're also a social media influencer, having worked on Nike's Made by You campaign and modeling for many fashion brands.
Yeah, that's
Tell us,
me.
what is this Nike campaign that you did?
Yeah, so I got selected last year to design my own pair of Air Max 95s with Nike, and it had a UK rollout. People could buy it. It was an amazing opportunity. I got selected, entered the competition, and yeah, it was really great. And it was once in a lifetime, best thing I've ever done. I don't. I'm wearing Nike, so I'm still representing, but I'm not wearing my shoes.
So where's your future going? Are you going lawyer? Are you going influencer?
I'm going qualifying as a lawyer and then see what happens.
Nice.
That's. I always want to have a fallback. So qualify as a lawyer, see what happens.
All right. Well, guys, the floor is yours. Feel free to ask any questions to these incredible individuals. Go for it.
So, Jade, what do you think the positive and negatives are of social media?
I definitely think there are a lot of positives and negatives. One of the main positives I see is, it's a platform that you can express yourself, your passion for fashion, which is like me, your opinions and your thoughts, but as well as your faith as well. But there are some negatives, you are seeing people's lives and, a kind of filtered, perfected version of people's lives on a regular basis. And there's so much content now being pumped into social media that it's easy to get lost and lose yourself on these platforms. It's really easy to also get distracted and, come off your path because you're running this way and you see someone else's going that way and you think, oh, they're doing well and gaining traction and getting followers, I need to go that way. But, it really reminds you that you've got to stay on your path as well. But, it is a great platform and it's social media has changed the way we live our lives, but we have to be, mindful and careful with how we use it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And Phil, I want to ask you a question, actually. So when it comes to evangelism, what does that look like in our digital age when you have social media and all these platforms that we go on?
Yeah, so I think evangelism, we can sometimes make it really complicated. And I think at its core, evangelism is simply leading people to the person of Jesus Christ. And I think we can make it about these courses we can run, or these things we can say, or these things we do, but it's simply getting people to meet Jesus. And I think on social media, I think in the digital age, there's more than just social media going on. And so, as well as that, we have this non-religious society. So if we go back 40 or 50 years, if I take you back to the 1960s, it was in the middle of Christendom. So Christianity was pretty central in society. And so you had these people like Billy Graham, who was amazing, and he could get on a stage and preach, and he could sort of give people the cherry on the top of a cake that they'd essentially already baked growing up, where they sort of understood elements of Christianity, and he sort of said, this is the gospel, and this tops it all off. Whereas now, we don't really have that as much. People can grow up in homes and not go to church as much. They might not study religion in school, so they don't have all this information. And so now, it's a longer term sort of conversation over maybe longer than just one night. And I think I read a book, and I love the way they sort of talked about it, about Gen Z, and Sandra Bullock in the movie Gravity, by the way. I'm a really big Sandra Bullock fan. But in the movie Gravity, there's this stage about 3/4 of the way through the film that she thinks she's going to die. And she says, I would pray, but no one ever taught me how to pray. And so he sort of says, people, our generation don't have those skills that other generations had. And so when you add on to that a digital age, I think one of the positives that we have is that people like you guys that are showing everyday life as a Christian, I think that's important because it shows people normality and not just this the gospel where they're what are you even talking about? But I do think there's still an importance of real life and teaching people how to pray, what the Bible is. I mean, you should maybe try an Alpha course, that maybe be helpful. But yeah, that's a long answer, but hopefully that answers it.
So sort of jump off that as well to you as well, Phil and Jade. Do you think when we're on socials, we sort of portray ourselves as this perfect painting or whatever, but what do you think is the best way to, be genuine and not just be the fake person or whatever, you are on social?
I'll take this one to start. I think that, being yourself is, the best thing that you can do on social media. And I think the fact that we have this pressure to portray a perfect version of ourselves has completely come based off, seeing other people live this perfect life that doesn't exist. And so I think it's a decision within yourself that you're going to use social media authentically and to understand that no matter what anyone else says, your platform is yours. It's your own platform. And so I think if you want to be, if you like to cook or you like to bake and you're scared that your friends are like, that's not cool, do it because you love it and you want to do it. And that will take you even further than people who are, acting a certain way because everyone else thinks that's the way to act. And you will, especially when it comes to, I think followers in this day and age are kind of seen as currency. If you want to grow a platform and have an audience that really, really value you, you have to value yourself and you have to put your values out there and they will resonate with that. And the people that like those values or like the way you are will be attracted to you on social media. So that's definitely what I would say.
I really liked something Jade said to me earlier where she said, I might not have like hundreds of thousands of followers, but I have a community. And I think that part of being real and on social media is also being real in real life. Because I think like social media is big, but it isn't everything. Like it's not. And I think it's important that we don't let it become everything. And I even think, not to get all biblical, but we talk about the word becoming flesh. And so this thing that was in our head had to become experience. And so I think if you want to be real with the people that you're trying to like encourage and that you're trying to reach, part of it is what you do in real life as well as what you do online. So I think it's a good balance. And that idea of community I just think it's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I've got a question for you both. We kind of spoke about this earlier, but I really want to know what you guys think. How do you think the disciples and Jesus would be using social media or would have used social media?
So if I think about Jesus, I think of two things when it comes to social media. I think of someone that when we read like the Bible, that he was always about empowering like the down and the lost and the least. And I think one way he would maybe have used social media if he had it was that he would have empowered minorities and he would have empowered people that weren't being empowered. Even in the Gospels at that point, women were really low in society and he made sure to empower them. So I think where a lot of our Instagrams are like selfie pointing at us, I think Jesus's would have been camera pointing at them. And the other way, I think, is that Jesus would have used those platforms where there was mass audiences to maybe communicate a bit of the kingdom of heaven. So before the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus was standing on the mountain and people were gathering and he sort of saw, there's more people coming. So he went higher up the mountain so more people could hear. And there's another time where he's on a beach and he gets in a boat and he goes further out of the shore so more people could hear. So I think Jesus being perfect could have figured out a way of communicating the kingdom of heaven without making it all about like him being so cool, but all about being them coming to him, I think.
Yeah. And touching on the disciples and how they would use Instagram, I definitely think that each of them had qualities that were specific to each one. And I think they would have amplified that on their platforms, but always pointing it back and relating it back to this is why I am the way I am, which is Jesus, following Jesus is why, the way that I am. So using their platforms in different ways because they have different qualities to amplify the name of Jesus Christ. And I think that in itself would have been enough to gain followers, because they are being authentic and directing you to Jesus. And people would have seen that on, let's say, for example, Instagram and wanted to follow and be like, what is this? You are uniquely you and you are all uniquely yourselves, but pointing to this one guy that is Jesus. And I think that would have been enough to gain followers and have 1 million on Instagram.
I also think there would have been a lot of pictures of fish.
And fish.
The stories would have been full of fishing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this could be both for you guys again, but like if there was one thing that you could say you would like to do or maybe you already do that points people to Jesus or is significant in the sense that people would know that you have a faith, what would you say that would be?
Oh, well, we kind of were speaking about this before, and I was saying how, sometimes I do find it difficult to be as, loud about my faith on social media because you have this tendency to feel like you aren't qualified enough to dictate or tell people, this is what the Bible says, and you feel like you might not be enough in that sense. But I feel like just me living my life authentically and showing people, you know, loving on people on social media, I'm always, you know, amplifying people with, you know, smaller platforms or people who are spreading messages or, you know, minorities or issues to do with, you know, race and diversity. And I think in that alone, people are like, oh, there's something kind of different about this girl and what she's doing on Instagram. She's not just, you know, posting cool fashion pictures. She actually has a passion for something and is trying to, you know, make the world a better place, which is what I try to do as much as possible in my own way. And I think in that people have sometimes messaged me and thought, you know, oh, like, are you Christian? Like, do you go to church? Like, can I pray with you? Like, can you pray for me? And I'm like, I didn't even tell you that, you know? But that is so nice in itself that you can see that in me. And I think, as I said, being yourself and just showing love and, you know, social media is full of hate these days. And I think being that person that is showing people love and you know, as Dan said, encouraging people, you know, that can be so much greater in showing your faith than telling everyone all the time that you're Christian, you know?
Guys, this has been really great. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably and in such a real way and in such a helpful way as well, you know. Why don't we give it up for our guests today? Thank you so much, both Jade and Phil. And as always, and for the very last time, why don't we just pray? Who would like to pray for the last time?
I don't mind praying.
Amazing.
Cool.
Let's have two prayers. Last one.
Yeah.
Right, close us out.
Close
Final
it.
episode. Two prayers.
Yes.
Heavenly Father, I just thank you, Lord, just for this session, Lord. I just thank you for every single body that's watching us right now, Lord. I pray that if there's anybody out there that's thinking about posting on social media, thinking about posting their faith on social media, I thank you that if they don't feel like they have to preach, then that's okay. You know, if they love football, if they love fashion, if they love cooking, whatever they love doing, if they love doing makeup and beauty and all that kind of stuff, I thank you that whatever they like, Lord, I thank you that that's enough for them, Lord, and you can use that, Lord, to really impact your world, Father. And I just thank you, Lord, that out of this session, Lord, that people have been uplifted, Lord, and I just thank you that you're mighty and you're sovereign, you're the King of Kings, you're the Lord of Lords, and I just pray that you continue to use us like never before.
Yeah, Lord, thank you for this opportunity that we've had to gather together. Thank you for TBN, thank you for Alpha, thank you for Got Questions. We're really grateful for this, Lord. And Lord, for the people at home who've been watching, Lord, I pray you bless these people. Would they reach out if they need anything? And yeah, would you bless what they've been learning about? And yeah, would they take some great things away from Got Questions? In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Huh? We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to get in touch. We hope you've enjoyed our chat today.
And if you've never joined an Alpha course, they take place across the globe, online and in person, and they're not just for you. Everyone of every age, every background and experience can be part one. They're strictly inclusive, so why don't you get involved?
If you want to know more, head to alpha.org/youth and check out our social media channels.
Well guys, sadly, this is the final episode. Thank you so much for watching over the last 10 weeks. It's been an amazing journey with Gen Z and our guests, and we hope every conversation has given you insight into the things going on in the minds and lives of Gen Z. Thanks again for watching. God bless you.
I'm young, so this can to me.
Best thing about Ireland?
The food. I feel like we do really, it's the Chinese food. It's just,